On the Gulf of Orosei, on the Italian island of Sardinia, is one of the most picturesque beaches we've ever come across in our travels, Cala Goloritzè. Hidden away in a remote corner of the island, right on the Tyrrhenian Sea, you can only get here by boat or on foot. Cala Goloritzè has the status of a national monument and is one of the stops on the Selvaggio Blu, one of the last wild trekking routes in the Mediterranean. If you enjoy discovering the great outdoors, hiking through untouched nature, being mesmerized by sensational views, relaxing on the beach, cooling off in the water, and snorkeling through large schools of fish all in one day, then this adventure will blow your mind. In this episode, we'll take you along on our journey to Cala Goloritzè, including the scenic car ride to the trailhead, our hike down to the beach past awesome rock formations, before showing you around one of the most spectacular beaches we have ever visited. If you choose to go on a hike to Cala Goloritzè, the only way to get to the trailhead is by car. If you approach from the south, the first stretch of road is a bit narrow, and you'll start to see the dramatic terrain with a steep ascent and hairpin turns. From the town of Baunei, the road winds its way up into the Supramonte Mountains onto a plateau known as the Altopiano del Golgo. Once you're on the plateau, the road is easier to navigate. There are no towns or villages here, so this is pretty remote. You might come across cows or donkeys on the road, so just watch out for those. The last kilometer to the parking lot at the trailhead is along a gravel road. You can park your car for free at the parking lot at Suporteru. From the parking lot, it takes roughly 2 hours to walk the 3.5 kilometer long trail through Goloritze Valley down to the beach. The difference in altitude along the way is just over 400 meters. We started our hike around 9:30 a.m. The trail doesn't descend down to the beach straight away. In fact, for the first kilometer, the trail actually climbs up to a small ridge. From the top of the ridge, you get the first views across Goloritze Valley down towards the Tyrrhenian Sea. The trail itself is pretty rugged and uneven. There are lots of loose stones along the way, so if you're not careful, you run the risk of rolling your ankle or injuring yourself on some of the sharper rocks. Along the trail, you can see a traditional rock shelter known as a koile. These types of structures were used by local farmers as shelters or storage facilities. Even though we went on this hike on a Sunday during the high season, we didn't have the feeling that the place was crowded at all. That is thanks to a policy that only a maximum of 250 people per day can go on the trail. We occasionally bumped into other people along the way, but for the most part, we were on our own and were able to enjoy the nature around us in peace and quiet. Both the trail and the beach are located inside Gennargentu National Park, Sardinia's largest national park. The hike through Goloritze Valley leads through a landscape that includes steep limestone cliffs, rugged ravines, and Mediterranean vegetation. Further down the valley, the trail isn't quite so steep. In this section, the trail is well formed and mostly takes you through forested areas that offer a good level of shade. On the day we went on this hike, temperatures reached up to 32 degrees Celsius. So being able to hike in the shade made a big difference. On the final stretch of the hike, there are some amazing rock formations along the way. The landscape here is starting to be a great deal more dramatic, with near vertical cliffs on either side. On the final descent down to the beach, the trail gets steeper, rockier, and more challenging again. This section of the trail feels wilder, more rugged, and full of surprises. For example, Punta Carotti is a 143-meter-high rock pinnacle that is popular with experienced rock climbers. It sits right next to the coast and is a stunning natural landmark. The rock is composed of limestone, which has been shaped over centuries, creating its dramatic silhouette with its almost vertical rock face. Just a few more steps from here, you get the first view of the beach and the Mediterranean. It doesn't get much better than this. We got there right around noon, so it took us 2.5 hours to hike down, including breaks. First impression, extraordinary. The beach itself is located in a sheltered bay that got its present form by a landslide that happened not all that long ago, back in 1962. The turquoise water of the Mediterranean is incredibly clean and clear. A short distance away from the beach is a rock arch that you can swim to and climb on. If you're brave enough, you can jump off from there into the water. We hadn't even gone down to the beach yet, and we were already amazed by the setting. Thanks to the daily limit of visitors, the beach didn't seem overly crowded. It's a white sand beach that gently slopes into the water. We couldn't wait to put on our snorkeling gear and jump into the warm water. Underwater, it's a completely different world. There are literally thousands of fish in the water near the beach. There were dozens, if not hundreds of boats and yachts on the water, moored a safe distance off the beach. Thanks to a roped barrier that keeps boats at least 200 meters from the shore. From this perspective, you get a sense for how pristine the water is. And how unforgiving the terrain. In most places, steep mountains reach all the way to the Mediterranean, making Cala Goloritzè one of the few places that are accessible to hikers along this stretch of Sardinia's coast. For us, Cala Goloritzè is a beach in a class of its own. At around 6 p.m., we got back to our car, tired but absolutely thrilled by what we discovered. Have we made you curious? Would you be keen to visit Cala Goloritzè yourself? If so, here are some practical tips that might come in handy. If you would like to go on this hike, you will need to buy tickets. You can buy those online up to 3 days ahead of time. There's a limit of 250 tickets per day and they cost you €7 a piece. If you don't have a ticket, you won't be allowed in because this person right here will check at the entrance. There are also just a few rules that you need to be aware of. First of all, the path opens at 7:30 in the morning and closes at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The beach itself closes at 5 p.m. And just be mindful, you do want to bring shoes that have closed toes just to avoid injury. And as far as the shoes are concerned, they will actually check those on the way in. Why the big deal about the shoes? Because the trail is a bit rough in places, which also requires a reasonable level of fitness. You should also pack plenty of water and food to last you the day. Especially during the summer months, temperatures can get very hot along the trail and on the beach, so you will need to bring plenty of water to stay hydrated. As you saw, you can go swimming and snorkeling in the water down at the beach. So if you're planning to hop into the water, don't forget to bring your swimming togs and snorkeling gear. There are no toilets at the beach or anywhere along the trail. So if you need the toilet, head to the Soup Potato restaurant next to the parking lot before you get going. With those things in mind, you can have a wonderful time exploring the trail and the beach at Cala Goloritzè, and enjoy this incredible adventure in one of Sardinia's most beautiful spots.